We just got back from Washington, D.C., and we had 2 amazing whirlwind days of lobbying lawmakers. And I think we just want to take a minute and tell you what the trip was like.
Yeah, so first off, I did survive wearing city clothes, and I found out the city clothes are actually quite comfortable. So that part of my worrisome was not anything I needed to worry about. But you don't know until you go there. But regardless of all of that, going to Washington, D.C. was an amazing experience and very eye-opening for me. Was it eye-opening for you?
Yeah, so it's definitely educational. Like going into this, Tawnee and I had never done anything on a national level like that. And you have no idea what to expect. And at first it's like, why are we just talking to staffers? And then the more you kind of get to know what's going on, it's like, well, actually, these are the people that are the ones that bring the policy to the lawmakers. So I think I was amazed and a little bit humbled by the situation because it's huge, like just massive what's going on up there. And there's people from around the country, everybody's pushing for their own agenda. And you just look around, it's just a sea of humanity.
That's why it's really important for those of us who have been in the trenches to be speaking out why these laws are important. And some of them that we went to, they were already support like the SAFE Act and stuff. And we had a neat experience where usually we were just going in and talking to the receptionist and just, thank you so much for supporting the SAFE Act and these different acts and the PAST Act. But we actually did get to meet somebody who's major decision maker.
So Representative Alma Adams from North Carolina, she actually co-sponsored the SAFE Act, so we were able to meet her in person in her office and thank her for co-sponsoring the SAFE Act.
And she was very grateful to hear from us and that we were there thanking her. So I think that's another aspect of this is, not just pushing we need these laws, but also giving the acknowledgement that, thank you so much for supporting this, because these are truly the people that are going to bring change to the horse world, which is just kind of mind-boggling for me as I was going through and, doing the different things we did. I kept thinking that, these people who are like, we have no idea about what this means. We've tried to research it. Now I finally understand it. These are the people that are making those decisions. And if we're not able to sit with them and explain with them exactly why these laws are needed, they're never going to happen. They're never going to pass. And I feel like for the SAFE Act that, prior to this trip, it seemed like it was never going to happen. It was never changing. But I did learn up there, and it's exciting news about the SAFE Act, that it's really closer than it ever has been closing to passing. Really next year it could pass, and that would end the whole horse slaughter thing.
So really it's just adding one word onto the existing law that outlaws exporting dogs and cats for slaughter. It would be adding the word equine in that existing law.
Yeah. So a lot of these laws don't change overnight, and the SAFE Act has been called the SAFE Act for a long time, but it keeps changing kind of behind the name. Things keep changing. And so for me, being able to learn that, so they were able to put a law in place, dog and cat slaughter, which is no brainer. We don't want that to happen, is illegal. And now it's just adding equine to that existing law. When I was meeting with the California representative, I was telling her it's really a no-brainer. California already acknowledges that horses are pets, and for them to adapt this law and just add equine into it and support it, it falls right in line with what California already stands by. And, so just being able to meet with these people and go over the different things and explain it to them from a rescuer standpoint was just amazing. And I was really blown away by the amount of I never understood it until now. And I heard that, and it was this is why these laws aren't passing. If you're just paying somebody to go stand in front of these people that don't have a clue of what's actually happening, it's no wonder these laws aren't getting passed.
Well, what I thought was very fascinating is Tawnee took her little laptop there, and she had a presentation she'd actually show the people, it's 8, 10 slides.
What did you see firsthand?
And the lady that had invited us up there, she's a lobbyist, and she's like,
she's done this for 8 years, and she's like, this is like, they're actually looking at what you're presenting and they're connecting with it.
well, she's like, when I went to lobby school, they specifically said, do not do presentations. It's like, well, we do what works.
I'm like, I want them to see what I am seeing. And so it was really amazing to be part of all of that. So, and be thanking those who are supporting the SAFE Act. I think that is so huge. You know, there needs to be more of that. But, you know, you as, you know, a person sitting in your home, you can call and talk to, you know, and just let them know, like, there are people in the office that are writing down what you're saying and why they should support the SAFE Act. So the PASS Act, that would be preventing soaring of Tennessee walking horses, is really, really close to moving on.
Yeah.
Like, shockingly.
It has enough co-sponsors in the House to get out of subcommittee into committee so it can go on the floor for a vote.
And like, if nobody's encouraging these laws to happen, they can easily fall by the wayside. And one person I was speaking with, like, you know, I was explaining, you know, soaring, and I was showing the pictures, and she's like, when this, like, we need to make a decision on this and stuff, I was studying it, and she's like, I couldn't figure out what it was actually like. And she's like, now I know, and now I know why it's so important. So things like that I took away, and I was just like, wow, this is a crucial part of helping animals.
So I think that we were very successful up there. We have no way to directly gauge the success other than we were able to talk to a lot of people. We were able to network and let them know, hey, this is why. And like Tawnee's been mentioning, you know, it's important to show them why. And there's a lot of education that happened. And I know for a fact we're going to want to do this again.
Yeah, no, in March, we're planning on going back again, and not only to talk with them, and I mean, especially like the PAST Act that would prevent soaring of big lick horses, like, that's really coming close. And there's a huge amount of support for it, but just encouraging them, and the SAFE Act, and we also were talking to them about the helicopter roundups of the Mustangs, and then also donkeys being slaughtered and exported.
Which is a whole separate bill. That's actually the, and I'm going to slaughter the pronunciation, no pun intended, but it's the EIJO Act. Would prevent donkeys from being exported for slaughter for their hides.
Yeah, so there was a whole lot of things we were able to talk on. Basically anything that was connected to horses, we were presenting. And one thing I had made a long time ago was just this chart that showed how horses ended up in slaughter. And everywhere I brought that out, they're like, oh, can we have this? They're like, this is amazing. I understand now how horses end up in the slaughter pipeline. Like, there's so much just a lack of education at a level where they're making these such crucial laws that it's just mind-blowing to me. And I know for a fact that going there made a big impact on people being able to understand why these laws are so needed. And it would be very hard, you know, if some place was just paying a lobbyist to go talk to them, you know, day after day to all these different offices, that they could truly make a difference by, you know, like, when you see something firsthand and you're able to explain the abuse that you're seeing and why these laws desperately need to be put into place, it really does make a difference. So for me, it was an amazing experience, and I truly now understand why it's so important to lobby for better animal laws and be the people that are actually, like, if you don't see it, that's fine. Still call them, tell them that you want them to support it, or thank them. You can look up and see if they're supporting it. Just call them up and say, thank you so much for supporting this. Like, they do need to hear from the American people, because, you know, I think so long the horse slaughter, it kind of fell into cattle and the whole livestock part. And there's so many people that don't want anything to change there, that the horses weren't able to be protected. But now that it's really just adding them to a law that prevents dogs and cats from being slaughtered, we are so close to getting it passed. But, you know, look up your local representatives and if they're supporting it, call and thank them. If they're not, ask them to support it. And there is literally somebody writing it down and will pass that on, and you can make a difference too. But definitely being there in person was huge.